Scott is a PhD, passionate husband and dad. He is one of the most exciting business trainers and the author of the #1 best-selling book, The Practice RX and Hire and Fire Like a Boss. He's been featured on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, and TEDx. As a high-performance practice advisor, Dino has frequently been referred to as the Tony Robbins of private practices.
Show me your power move.
You know what? Actually, I was just telling Steven, we were talking about this recently. I was like, man, when you go to an event with Dino, he's like the Tony Robbins of their world. His goal, I'm not finished introducing you yet. Sorry. His goal is to help business owners and leaders and teams create more passion in their lives, to be more productive in their offices, and to create more profits in all areas of their life. And today we're talking about selling through the screen, which like all of us have to master, because this is how sales is being done. And even like, honestly, even once the world goes back to normal, do you really think people are going to be excited to put on pants and drive to your office to have a sales conversation with you when they know there's an easier way? I don't think it's going back.
No, I think it's like telling people, hey, now that movie theaters are back open again, we're going to get rid of Netflix.
Right.
Like, people enjoy the convenience and the ability. The reason why Netflix and Uber both work is because it saves people time. It's not even about it's a better taxi service or a better movie service. Like, we had cable TV before there was Netflix.
Yeah.
But it saves people time. And what you can do through the screen with your services is about saving people time.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a little bit of a different sales experience when you're selling through Zoom or selling over the phone versus selling in person. Do you want to point out maybe what are some of the biggest adjustments people need to make?
Yeah, and I really, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing here. I mean, you did spend 2 days doing this. I hope you get a ton of flowers and back massages and thank you cards, because I know what it's like to put together an event and the stress and the overwhelm. I mean, I guess Steven could get a little thank yous too, because he's behind the scenes there. But
he gets some big thank yous.
I know, right? So I think some of the biggest differences, you and I both understand this world of body language, right? When you are together with someone, when you can connect with them, whether it be through a live event like you do, or when you are meeting with a client one-on-one to show them your thing, there's a difference that you can feel in the energy. I think everybody's born with some innate understanding of body language. Like, you can tell and feel the energy if somebody's annoyed at you or if they like you. But now you're relegated to #1, not really feeling the actual energy from them. You can feel the through the screen energy. Like you and I, we can feel that you're having fun or you're tired or whatever it be, right? That we can have that. But then now you're relegated to seeing only 20% maybe of their body.
Yeah. Like right now, you can't even see what my hands are doing. You can't see what my feet are doing. And those are 2 really important places when you're closing sales that I'm watching for. You can't even see them.
That's right. And as somebody who is presenting something, you have to be willing to understand that your hands are something that they're subconsciously looking for.
Yeah.
And that's a DNA thing, right? That's our caveman brain. And if you're not showing your hands, if you're not being animated, if you're not showing, then there's something missing and you're not totally communicating with. So that's a really big one, is understanding that part of the body language.
Well, but I will say that the face gives so many clues if you know what you're looking for. And so even though, and here's the thing with body language, you know, a lot of us, if you haven't been trained in reading body language, first of all, you should be. Secondly, you still pick up on these vibes. Like, have you ever walked into a room and you just know that person is ticked off at you? They haven't said a word. There's nothing that indicates it, but you know they are ticked off at you. It's their body language. So
I didn't think we were going to bring up personal stuff here, Amy, but yeah, I mean,
I'm not talking about you, Dino.
I don't know. I've never had that with my wife before, is all I know. I've never been in that situation before. But yeah, you're right? It's like that face is so important. I talk about, in my breakout, I got to talk a little bit about the lips and how important it is to look for the lips and when people have something to say. But I've developed this process called the shell. That is something that I tell people to look at the shell, and it's the shoulders are a big, huge thing that a lot of people do not pay attention to. It's probably the #1 missed opportunity when it comes to finding out what people are thinking or how they feel. The H is for the hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the eyes, and then the lips, and then the last L is your language, right? Because the language is important. We want to make sure we're saying the right words and helping people. But
yeah,
if you don't have those things and you're not looking for them here, you're missing out on a lot of the conversation.
well, it's a huge part of the conversation. You know, the words that we say are about 7% of the entire conversation. And so
That's right.
You know, your tone really matters, your body
Yep.
language really matters. And when you don't have those, you really are missing a lot. So can you give a couple of tips for recommendations that I, as a salesperson selling through the screen, what are some things I can do to help increase trust and create a stronger connection more quickly?
Yeah, the first thing is people, we've got to do better with our Zoom. I mentioned this in my breakout as well, but you know, your Zoom is your brand and
Yeah.
it's a part of your image. And I equate it to, you're a mom, you have, you know, lots of boys, like 20. How many boys do you have?
25.
25. Okay.
It
All right.
feels like 25 some days.
Yeah. I'm sure it does. You know, you have to take them to the dentist. If you were a mom, you went to the dentist and you go into the bathroom and you see the bathroom is trashed and they haven't cleaned it in a couple of days, like you're going to be like, great, they're going to put their fingers in my kid's mouth, like, or mine. You know, your image of what you're doing in the background. We've all been on those Zoom calls with people with their cats running in the background, or, you know, I mentioned this in the breakout that I was on a call and no joke, the guy had the camera so wide that you could see the floor, and he had open pizza boxes on the floor with the dog walking around. And I was like, I'm supposed to take you seriously as a business owner. And, you know, how are you going to treat my business? So I think that imaging, that branding, like I use a green screen behind me, partially because we're nomadic and we live in a very small space. But the other part is because then I can make this look better in any way, in any function that I want. I can have a house, I can have an office room, I can have a branding, right? I can have my own branding there. Yeah. So it allows you a little bit more freedom. The second thing is lighting. Like put yourself in front of a window. You don't have to get a ring light if you don't want, but at least window daylighting. Good sound, so key. Let people hear you. Your voice is worthy of being heard, so use it. So those things,
and upgrade your webcam too. Upgrade your webcam.
Upgrade your webcam.
It's a huge difference.
And do not have it down. Like be looking up to the person. Help them feel like you are connecting with them. Even if you're straight on with them, let that connection happen. I think people don't completely understand the power of that first connection, that brand that you're trying to equate. Like use those things to your advantage. It's all just stuff that's going to help. It can't hurt. Let's just say that. None of those things, if you improve upon them, are going to make you look worse. But not doing it can.
So for my fellow tech challenged people, I know you have your Selling Through the Screen challenge. Do you cover how to get their Zoom set up looking good? Like how to do the green screen in the backgrounds?
I cover the different tools that I use to do that to make it easy. So I like to look like I'm technically savvy, but I just go for the easiest thing that I can do. So like, for example, I use a company. I'll give everybody this company. It's such a good company. If you're a Mac user, like you were talking about just a moment ago, then you're going to use a company called Ecamm. And I think it's like $12 a month, but it allows you to do more things for your branding. So this is not even set up, but if I were to just say, hey, I want to do a quick thing with Amy and promote her while we're talking, and I don't have the setup to do it, but let's just say I were to do that. I wanted to just have a little layover, right? Uncover the truth for the empowerment of others. I don't know why I even have that there, but it gives you the ability to use that. And I could have had this branded for Amy, right? I could have said on here, I want it to be Amy's thing. But the point is that Ecamm allows you to do those overlays and little things like that. If you're not a Mac user and you're not part of the club that Amy was talking about earlier, and you haven't come to the 20th century yet, and you use Windows,
and you pretty much wear grandma shoes. I mean, let's be clear.
You're going to get so much hate mail. Then use a company called StreamYard. StreamYard is great for that as well. And that works on both Skype or Zoom or any of those. And OBS is another one you can use. But my point is I use things that make me look like I'm have a lot of things. Like I get a better microphone, right? I don't just use my Mac, the iPods or whatever, right?
Right.
Your camera is key. Logitech has a great camera. If you're looking to really make your camera look sharp and well done and use a DSLR camera, Canon has just released their whole line that, you know, for like $500, you're getting a M50, but it's plug and play. So you plug in the USB, you plug it into your computer and it works. So that's actually really cool because most of the other cameras like the Sonys and JVCs, all those, they don't work that way.
I feel like you're speaking a foreign language, so I'm just going to trust you on that. Just going to trust.
It's like plugging in your regular camera, but it's a nicer camera.
Well, but when you were talking about this, what I was thinking of is how many businesses, part of their sales process was somebody coming into the office and getting to see their space and getting to wow them because they are, you know, like they have a reserved for this person's sign or, yep. But a lot of that you could still accomplish through Zoom if when they got on, you had on their name, you know, like a little blackboard that says, welcome so-and-so.
Totally.
You could still accomplish some of those things. And I think that's what we need to be thinking about as we're selling is, what are the experiences that we were creating that helped us wow the clients that we can no longer do? And now how do we do that through the screen? Because this is also going to help with efficiency. You could have, whereas in your office space, maybe you only have space to talk to 2 people at a time. Well, you could exponentially grow your sales team. There's not a limit to how many salespeople you could have that are out there holding meetings like this all at the same time. You have no space constraints.
It's so true that you now have taken your brand, your company from being a local brand in a company to going global, right? You literally can have salespeople anywhere in the world. I'll give one last resource when you're talking about like signage and stuff like that. I use a company called American Greeting Cards. It's like $50 a year. And what I'll do, and I suggest to my clients to do, is that before you set up that meeting, to send them an electronic card that's fun, that's unique. You can have, you know, when it's birthday time, I have Donny Osmond sing people personal songs, like because your name's Amy, there's gonna be an Amy there. He'll sing Amy's name, right? Or you can have Dolly Parton, Shaquille O'Neal, or you can just do silly fun songs. But the point is, or cards. The point is that you're making an impression, just like you would if you were to walk in and they were to see their name there. Now they're getting something for you before they come on. Maybe it's 24 hours before. They're not going to forget your appointment when you give them stuff to feel like they're connected with you through that screen.
Yeah. And that's, you know, in sales, we call that the pre-frame. And I think the pre-frame is more important now than ever because you just can't rely on that, you know, being together. We're going to bond. We're going to just, you know, feel the vibe. So we've got to layer that process and be starting to close the sale before they even get to us, which was always good. It was always a good practice, but you could get away without doing it. And now I don't think that you can.
The philosophy of Dino said this, and the breakout was 90% of your sales success is determined in the pre-sale, in the setup to the sale. 90%. I totally believe that's true.
Awesome. Well, as always, Dino, lots of great stuff. Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time.